Counter option. Why we run the counter option? Again, it gives you a double option play that attacks the edge of the defense. It gives you a counter play versus hard flow defenses, and I mentioned that early on. That's why we do it. Sure, you can run false motions and things like that and get the defensive linebackers and the secondary guys to take a couple steps. But when you run true counter action in the backfield, you can really see that defenses almost overflow. And now you have such good angles on them that you're creating great separation and great opportunities for big plays back away from the counter. It's great against hard flow defenses. So many defensive coaches now, you see them coaching, and it's run to the ball, run to the ball, run to the ball, run to the ball. Well, just by adding counter option to your offensive playbook, now they can't coach that, because now if they run, and you counter them back the other way, there's a chance that they won't have anybody standing out there to tackle you. The other reason to run counter option is it's only one read for your quarterback. The other three plays that we've talked about have at least two reads for your quarterback, with the midline, inside veer, and outside veer. There's only one read. He's going to make a fake in the backfield, he's going to reverse out of it, and he's only looking for his pitch key. That's the only thing that he has to try and find, and then he is responsible for that pitch key. If that pitch key sinks or gets lost in the mess, now he knows where he's at. If that pitch key blitzes off the edge, he is also responsible for him at that point in time. So he needs to be ready to get rid of the football and give himself an opportunity to get soft and really try not to take a big hit. And it's a great play against any defense. You know, we've talked about, midline, try and run it to a 3 technique and inside veer and things like that. This play is a great play against any defensive front, and it's especially good against defenses that really like to run to the football and overreact to fakes. The basic concepts of this is the fullback and the quarterback will fake the inside veer action away from the call, and the play side slot will go in false motion, allowing great blocking angles. Okay, so we're really selling inside veer away from the call. All right, so we're going to bring, if we're going to run the play over here, we're going to bring this slot in motion. We're going to fake it over here, and at the snap of the ball, now he's going to run back out and make the block, and our backside slot now is going to go when the ball snapped. But it really creates a false action for the defense. The quarterback will pitch off the first man lined up outside the defensive end. So whether we have a tight end in the game or if we run it to the open side, we're always going to try and block the defensive end. So we're always going to try and pitch it off of the next man that shows outside the defensive end. With a tight end in the game, that defensive end may be standing on the line. With no tight end in the game, that guy can be off the ball or he could be anywhere. That's why it's important for the quarterback to recognize where his pitch key is. The play side backer will block, the play side tackle will block the play side linebacker, and the backside guard will pull and log the defensive end. All right, so we're going to pull a guard on this play. He's going to try and get his helmet and his shoulder pad on the outside hip of the defensive end and get him turned to the inside. And now we're trying to get a free shot on the play side backer with our tackle. The quarterback in the slots will attack the edge of the defense. Again, the quarterback, once he realizes where his pitch key is, attack the pitch key. All right, give the slot an opportunity to get in good pitch relationship, and when the pitch key attacks, let the ball go, and hopefully you have good angles on everybody. So that's the basic concepts of the counter option. Great play against hard flow defense.
Okay, the next thing we're going to talk about is counter option or counter trap option for us. We're going to go through the progression here. The basic concept of counter option for us is basically when we get teams flowing very heavy to our motion with inside veer, with outside veer, some of those things, counter trap option is a good mix up for us from a standpoint of we're going to false motion and come out the back door, try to gain angles on people trying to play to our motion and get those guys out of position. Been a great play for home run plays for us, and I think it's essential if you're going to run the option and you're going to install inside veer and midline that you definitely have counter trap option involved with that. If you look at the quarterback footwork here, we're going to fake inside veer to the fullback away from the call. So if you're going to run the ball to the left, you're going to fake to the right. And we always spin back to the inside from a standpoint of not ever turning our back to the defense. We feel like that's very important. And when he does that, the quarterback should snap his head and get his eyes on our pitch key immediately. So when the quarterback's under center, it's very important that he identifies where his pitch key is, because we're going to lose him for a second before we spin back around. First, the pitch key is the first man on or out, man outside the defensive end. We're going to log the defensive end and 4 down, so we're looking for that outside defender to pitch off of. In theory, if you think about it, on inside veer, it would be the same person on inside veer that you would pitch off of if you're looking at a 4-3 defense. Let's talk about the fullback's footwork. We're going to fake to the inside with the quarterback. Some people will vary this a little bit different. I think this is something you have to feel comfortable with as a coach, and your players have to feel comfortable if you want to ride it in there a little bit more. We token fake because it happens so fast and we have to spin out of there. I've seen it several different ways, and I think that's something that you're going to have to work out with your playbook. Our assignment, if we have a B-gap defender away from the call, then we're going to expect our fullback to block that guy. Because we're going to pull that play side guard or that backside guard, and we're going to expect, if he has a B-gap player, that our fullback's going to pick that guy up. And we'll look at what the tackle's responsibility is here in a second. But that's important that we're able to do that. If there's not a B-gap defender, if there's an A-gap defender, our center will take care of that. So our fullback's now responsible for the backside linebacker. Okay, play side slot. This is where things get to be very important. We want to go in false motion. We don't want to sell this thing completely that we're already coming back to the play before the ball snap. We just want to get 1-2 good hard steps like we're going in inside veer motion, and then we're going to come back and we're going to block the corner. So we're going to arc back off that, and you'll see in the slides here in just a second with the cut-ups, and he's going to go try to gain leverage on that corner, depending on where he's aligned. Backside slot, he's going to have to really bust it on this. He's going to have to work very, very hard and to get in pitch relationship. So once the ball is snapped, he's got to get going. He's got to get there because our quarterback's ready to pitch the ball right out of the spin, so our slot has to be there immediately. Receivers, this is a great opportunity to get a big shot. And when you watch Georgia Tech, Navy, and some of those guys on TV that everybody does on ESPN, you see a lot of those guys come back in on this play and really get some big hits on those safeties because they get out of position, and working towards the line of scrimmage, you can get some good shots on those guys. We'll block the play side safety on that. Okay, tight end. We do use a tight end some in this play, and if we do, we're gonna double combo with the play side tackle, just a lot like we do on outside veer. And now we're going to work the play side backer to middle linebacker if there is a mic, and basically stay on track. Hopefully those guys are getting out of position. Play side tackle, again, if you have an A-gap defender, we'll double combo with the tight end. If no tight end, then we're going to veer release this guy, because at a 4 down, if we want to veer release this guy and the defensive end, because that's who the pulling guard's going to log. So very important. If we have a B-gap defender, we'll double that guy and work to the play side linebacker. Play side guard. We're going to down block an A-gap defender. We'll double team a B-gap defender, just as we mentioned with the play side tackle. Center will back block for a pulling guard if you have that A-gap defender. If you have that B-gap defender that the fullback's going to block, then now the center will go to that backside linebacker. Very important that those guys communicate, and we just come up with basically some calls that we use for the fullback and the center to identify where that guy's located. Backside guard now is going to pull and log the first guy on the line of scrimmage. If we, in a 50 defense concept and we have a tight end, we're going to try to get him underneath over the top of the 5 technique and try to get him up to play side linebacker. And we'll look at some clips of that in just a second. The backside tackle, we're going to filter just like we would on midline. Counter trap option is a necessity in our playbook, and if you would go and look at our statistics at the end of the year when we break down our offense, this play year after year ends up being our biggest yardage play per play that we have. It's not something that we just run a lot, but it's when we do, it's very effective. As soon as you see overflowing linebackers, aggressive line play, aggressive secondary play, this is when you need to run counter trap option. Okay, you're going to sell inside veer one side, and you're going to come back out of it and work to the other side. We'll look at a 4-down look here first, and then we'll go over and look at a 50 front. Okay, as we'll run counter trap option here to the left side to the A-gap defender. Again, you can run it to the A-gap or the B-gap. It's effective both places for us. Okay, we're going to work here, so we'll work outside in. We're going to always take our corner. Our base call off of this when we call counter trap option is we're always going to take the outside receiver and we're going to slam the safety, gain leverage on him. Remember, we're selling inside veer to the right, so if you get any type of roll 3 coverage, which we see a lot, now this guy should be out of position off of motion. Your play side slot is coming in false motion. He's going to get just before you would say an eye position, and he's going to now attack the outside shoulder of the corner, thinking that we're going to get the ball pitched. Okay, so now you can see we can have flow action here. Okay, as we look here, everything is a back scheme. Okay, we're back blocking away from the call. So this guy's protecting B gap. Okay, and if you look at this play, a lot of the same concepts for our quarterback are just like inside veer as far as who your pitch key is. Okay, if we were running inside veer, there's your handoff key. Okay, and we're getting ready to pull this guard here to always block our handoff key on counter trap option. Our pitch key on inside veer is also our pitch key on counter trap option. So there is your pitch key. So your quarterback should be able to identify those and relate those things as if you're running some similar concepts as inside veer. All right, so we're going to down scheme this. We want to get all over the mic right here. All right, now this block right here, our center makes a call. What technique? If he gets a technique that's wider than the guard, we're going to take our fullback there off of inside veer action. Okay, if he becomes an A-gap player, now our guard will back block. The guard and the center and the fullback are responsible for this defensive tackle and the backside linebacker. Protect the A-gap, get to the backside linebacker. Okay, so our backside guard is now going to pull, and he's going to log the defensive end. We'll talk about some techniques if he crosses your face and stuff as we go along here. Okay, we're going to protect the B gap here or squeeze that 3 technique, and we're going to keep a late charge here from this defensive end. Okay, our quarterback is going to open up like inside veer, gather his feet, and he's going to attack the line of scrimmage. One key coaching point to this is to always turn back into the line of scrimmage, and now read the block of this pulling guard that's logging, and now attack your pitch key. Okay, we find, and this is why the play's so successful, so many times you run inside veer, this guy can get himself out of position. And now what happens is you can potentially have, as this guy comes off the snap and gets in pitch relationship, you now can have 2-on-0. Worst case scenario, you have 2-on-1 on this outside linebacker. Okay, backside rule here by this backside receiver. Okay, excellent misdirection play. Sell inside veer. A couple coaching points. This backside slot is going off the snap. He's got to run. I mean, he's got to run very, very fast. Again, the play's a little bit slower developing because we are faking here, but it's a quick flash fake, turn back into the line of scrimmage, attack down the line of scrimmage as everything's moving this direction. Okay, let's look at running. We ran this to the left. Let's run this counter trap option to the right at a 50 front. Okay, let's look at this. A lot of similar concepts as far as we don't change a lot of our blocking schemes. Okay, who would be our pitch key on inside veer? Okay, so in this particular case, it's the same thing with counter trap option. Okay, so it's easy for our quarterback. We're still slamming the safety. We're still false motion. Attack the corner. Okay, gain leverage on him, thinking we're going to get the ball kicked. Okay, let's talk about 50 defense here a little bit with what we're trying to accomplish. Okay, we have this tackle and this guard are responsible for this defensive end and that play side linebacker. So again, based off technique, it just depends. This pulling guard has to listen for technique call from this guy. If he's inside leverage, if this defensive end is inside leverage, or he slants from position across his face, this tackle's now going to wash him down. And this is something, again, you have to work on and drill it in your individual time and practice. If he's a loose 5 technique and that tackle can get inside release and get to that play side backer, this guard now knows he has to get to that defensive end's outside shoulder, just like we looked at over here. Okay, so let's just assume that this guy gets inside release here. Okay, we're again down scheming. That guy's wider, so now fullback is going to be responsible here. He's gonna step in this direction. If he has a heavy nose, we'll double it to the backside backer. We're gonna step hard here and filter any trash that's coming. And then as you can see here, we're now gonna pull and log this guy. Again, if he crosses his face, the tackle washes down, he climbs and blocks the play side linebacker. Okay, we're gonna flash fake inside veer, open back inside, attack your pitch key. He's running motion, just like inside veer, just like every other motion play that we've had. And he's getting in pitch path, trying to get to that 5-yard lateral or a yard behind the quarterback. And this is our backside rule. Okay, counter trap option. Excellent play for us, great against any front. We like it versus 5 or 3 down. We like it versus four down teams. It's a great play to run second, third quarter after you get some flowing linebackers and you ran inside veer and all your option plays, especially if you're running, your motions consistently running to the direction you're going. This is a great counter action that really is tough on defenses. You get some great angles on the edge, which gives you some huge advantages to get the ball kicked and have some big plays. Let's look at some cut-ups from counter trap option. We'll try to vary some different defenses. Here's that concept we looked at earlier with a 4-3 concept of them walking their outside linebackers up on the line of scrimmage, a solo defense. Okay, you can see here the effect of the false motion that we're getting here, and you can see great job here by our outside receiver setting this thing up, pushing vertically initially. Now he's going to slam block that safety or crack block him, however you want to do it. We would call crack on a linebacker, and then what we're going to do here is if it's a safety, we'll call it a slam block. Excellent job here by our pulling guard, and you're going to look at that in just a second. From the end zone, let's identify here what we're looking at. This here is a play side linebacker, so just like inside veer, this is our pitch key on this particular play. This guy here initially is the guy that we want to log with this one, with our pulling guard. If he disappears inside, it just becomes a down scheme or a back scheme. So as soon as he sees this guy disappear, we want him coming up, okay? Because that's important that we do that because he needs to be looking now for play side backer or staying on track. You can see here, great footwork here by our quarterback and our fullback. We have an A-gap player, so our center is going to block him. So our fullback's responsible for that backside linebacker. You see our pulling guards should duck. Did a great job here. Not taking our pitch key. Our quarterback immediately has already identified who our pitch key is, getting that good pitch relationship and get the ball kicked. Okay, here's a good example. I know a lot of people who have asked me about this particular play say, what happens if this defensive end gets upfield? It's important if that happens, and you have to really rep this in practice on, when you do your individual stuff with your quarterback, with your offensive line. If that defensive end that we're going to log gets upfield, then now we have to kick him out, okay? And that happens occasionally. And then you can see our quarterback does a great job here. He sees that we can pitch off this guy. This is just a really good play, essentially. But the concepts here are very, very good of our quarterback seeing a kick out and now duck. Okay, you can see here, this is a 4-3 scheme, same kind of 6-1 solo. Our guard probably bust on this particular play, could have pulled up here around the down block, because if you look at, this is the defensive end. If he gets washed down, he should have came around like the last one did. He doesn't identify this, or there's a lack of communication. He kicks out, he recognizes, so he tucks. And that's just the quarterback knowing what the heck's going on. And a good football play here and hustling down the field. And this is what happens when you run this offense. You develop tough kids that want to create big plays. We get You know, if you look at some things, we haven't talked about personnel and stuff a lot, but we get away with maybe a smaller slot that's really fast and just a tough kid that maybe can't make it at a Division II or a bigger school, but has very good wheels. Okay, let's look at this case here. This is now to a tight end versus a 50 defense. Okay, let's pause this for just a second. This guy here, just like on inside veer, is going to be our pitch key. So we're going to down scheme this thing. We're going to pull. Our guard here should have pulled and wrapped this thing. I think he's going to try to block this thing again. Maybe a lack of communication or understanding what's going on. But he should have pulled around here. But you can see here, you're going to see some great angles that we create with the false motion. This is excellent false motion by our slot. If you're looking for an example to show your kids. Great false motion. Our quarterback, he's taught when he gains leverage, then he's in good shape. And you can see our slot here that goes in false motions, gaining leverage on this corner. From the end zone, trading the tight end here to gain an advantage. Just becomes a down scheme, trying to get to that play side backer. If you don't get to this play side backer with your tight end, in theory, this guard should wrap around and block him. So you should be okay either way. But we don't pass one to get to one. Great job by our quarterback, noticing leverage, get the ball kicked, and good hard run. Okay, now we're getting, this is an interesting formation. We're putting unbalanced into the boundary here to try to get them overloaded into the boundary. We're going to run counter trap option, getting some false steps here. Okay, again, good job. This is a true defensive end, getting upfield and kicking. Quarterback recognizing, ducking it, and just really accelerating off that. Going to make a play. Good job here by our play side tackle. He's stepping down, checking for slant, and he's going to push off vertical. If there's a guy there, then we're going to block him, which is, this is a great play by him. Get some false motion here. Hard to block the mic in this particular case. Hopefully with the footwork and the action in the backfield, again, we can go get our 6 yards, or you can cut off of them like this and hopefully make it a big play. Okay, counter trap option. This is some great looks at some different defenses. Lots of different formations here that you looked at, and hopefully this will help you out understanding what we're trying to do in counter trap option.